So who was this Titus that would bring such encouragement to the Apostle Paul? Well, a couple of notes about him. He was one of Paul's trusted sons in the faith, similar to Timothy, somebody that he had played a huge role in to leading to Christ as well as discipling. He also played a major role in most of Paul's ministries. Later, he would oversee the ministry in Crete. And in this case, he's the one that took the letter that Paul wrote to the church at Corinth. And so Paul's concern for Titus was this. He had sent this first letter to Corinth, gave it to Titus to take it, and he was waiting for Titus to return to give him some understanding how the church received it. If you know the context of the letter, the first letter, you understand why Paul is a little anxious to hear, well, how did it go? What's the feedback? Where are they at? Well, some time had passed, and Titus hadn't showed up. In fact, if you were to go back to 2 Corinthians chapter 2, they apparently had planned to meet in Troas, and Titus hadn't shown up. Now, that's not all that unusual. We're used to today that if we want to find out where somebody's at, one of our loved ones, we just go to Find My Friends, or we pick up the phone and we call them. That's a whole different time frame they're living in. And so travel in the first century could take months to go just these distances. And certainly there were all kinds of trials that a person could fall into, different difficulties. And so there's no way for Paul to know where Titus is. And so he's waiting in this state of anxiety and wondering how things had gone. And in the midst of this discouraged place that Paul's in, Titus appears out of nowhere, shows up in Macedonia. And the point I bring up this for is because God is using people to encourage the Apostle Paul, which, by the way, God still does that. God uses people to encourage us when we're down. By the way, He also wants to use you to be an encouragement to other people. I was thinking about this, kind of mulling this over this week. I realize that sometimes we're just simply too busy to encourage other people sometimes. I understand that because we are busy. But we should never be too busy to be an encouragement. And by the way, I think sometimes, too, we're often closed off to the point we don't want others to encourage us. It's not